Well, I'd like to thank you all for being here. My name is Paul Ford. I'm the Assistant Chief of Police for the St. Paul Police Department. Thank you all for being here to recognize the sacrifice made by Ron Ryan Jr., Tim Jones, and his canine partner Laser 30 years ago today. I know it's hot, but I think we can sacrifice a little bit to recognize what they did 30 years ago. There's water in the back if anybody needs it. And if anyone's feeling uncomfortable, there's a door to the right. These young police explorers can assist you in getting in the building. First, I would like to introduce District Chief Omari, Salim Omari. He's the District Chief of the Eastern District where we're at today.
Good afternoon. As Assistant Chief Ford said, I have the distinct privilege to serve as the District Chief here on the East Side. And it's an honor to be here today. And on behalf of the entire Eastern District, I welcome the Ryan family and the Jones family. We're here today to remember two men who will forever be a part of our city and the East Side. And today we stand together not just to remember, but to reaffirm our commitment to carrying forward the legacy of Ron Ryan Jr. and Tim Jones. Even though none of the officers working in this district today were on the job in 1994, and frankly, some weren't even born yet, these men's spirits live on in the work that we do every day. Our officers serve with a passion and a purpose that honors those who came before us, embodying the past as they navigate today's challenges. They understand the deep history that makes the St. Paul Police Department what it is today. And they strive to live up to the standards set by heroes like Ron Ryan Jr. and Tim Jones. The renaming of this building to the Ron Ryan Jr. Eastern District and the mural that now graces our lobby ensure that Ron and Tim's sacrifices will never be forgotten. The phrase "always remembered, never forgotten" isn't just something we say, it is something we live. Though these powerful images remind everyone who enters our district of the history that shaped us long after we're gone. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the generosity of the Vamella Company, a staple company here in St. Paul since 1947, who played a crucial role in bringing this project to life. It's gestures like these that show how deeply our community values its history and its heroes. I'm especially proud that this project was led by our own East Side officers and professional staff. Their vision and dedication to seeing this through speaks volumes about the pride we all take in our roles and our shared commitment to honor in the past. And finally, as we gather here today, let us be reminded of the courage and selflessness that Ron and Tim exemplified. Their memory will forever be a part of who we are, what we stand for, and now enshrined in the very name of this building, the Ron Ryan Jr. Eastern District. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here today. Today's an important day in our city. When I think back 30 years, I wasn't mayor then either. I was a high school student. And I remember being a high school student, turning on the news and seeing that this horrific tragedy had occurred in our city. And it wasn't something that we experienced secondhand, because I know many of you know retired Sergeant Melvin Carter Jr., my father, who was on duty alongside many of you that day as a part of that manhunt. And to this day, that stands as one of the most terrifying days, not only in our city's history, but very personally and directly in our family's history. We stand here today to recognize Officer Ron Ryan Jr., Officer Tim Jones, as exemplary individuals who paid the ultimate sacrifice for our city's safety. We say it so much that it can sound somewhat trite. Our officers are the ones who put their lives on the line for our safety. our officers, our firefighters, our paramedics run into a situation when everyone else is running out. But there was nothing trite about August 26, 1994. Their sacrifice and their service will forever be remembered in this city. The names and the photographs on this building are a reflection on careers well served, but they're also a reminder to us that the safety that we hold dear just cannot be taken for granted. That the community that we cherish comes at a cost. I said that these officers were exemplary individuals, and I do believe that. And it's a pleasure to know that they weren't exceptions. That when we recognize Officer Ron Ryan Jr., Officer Tim Jones, we're not saying those are the two officers who serve and lead with the dignity, the courage, and the respect that they did. We're saying those are two officers who represent and reflect the way every single member of this St. Paul Police Department goes out into our community every single day. So it's an honor and a privilege to be here with you today. I am honored, and I know the Ryan family is honored that you all chose to spend your time on this very, very, very hot afternoon with us like this. And in closing, I just want to say, welcome to the Ron Ryan Jr. Eastern District. Thank you very much.
So they put me third in line. The idea would be is if we were getting too hot, I could compress what I had to say. Those that know me know that's usually not my strong point, but we're gonna take a good shot at it here. I want to just hit on a couple of very, very quick things. I couldn't agree more, and I can't thank the district chief, the assistant chief, and our mayor for the words that they said, and so there's no need for me to repeat those. What I think is important, I want to focus on today is something a little bit different than we often talk about. And that's, we say, and rightly so, we're never going to forget. We say that we're never going to allow these memories to go away. We do things even locally that some of you don't know about. We never reissue those badge numbers. The squad number 313, I worked a 3-car in this district for a long time. This is where I spent the majority of my career, in this Eastern District. We never used that squad number again. There's a bunch of things we never are going to do. And I know this group is committed to never ever forget these sacrifices. But I want to remind us what this new image of our building has done, and what the name, when it goes up, and we're excited about that as well, happens. It's going to represent what we are going to do. We are going to continue to be inspired by these people. These officers went forth and were the models for the sacrifice that people make. They inspire generations of people to want to get into this line of work and the importance and the purpose of what they do. I've had 6 calls since this announcement went out from officers who couldn't be here today, who said, and have already retired, who said this is why they joined the St. Paul Police Department. They watched what happened in 1994, and they saw what was going on in this city, and they said, we're going to step up. That is a legacy of inspiration that I think sometimes we overlook. So I'm so proud of the work that happened here. I'm so proud it was a grassroots thing. And I will tell you, as the chief of police, I have very little to do with this. I did find out something interesting. A chief of police can actually just decide on their own to name a building after somebody, because we actually looked into that. But this was a grassroots thing that came from our officers, from our retired folks, and from our community, who have always believed that this needed to happen. And I'm just sorry it took us 30 years, but I think it's very fitting. So thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for being a part of our family and supporting this family. And we really can't thank all of you enough. It's such an important day. And as the mayor said, welcome everyone to the Ron Ryan Jr. building. We appreciate you being here. Thank you.
This is amazing. Wow. So thank you everyone for being here. So my name is Maria Ryan Hange, and I'm Ron's younger sister. I'm here today with my mom, Kelly, our mom, Kelly. My husband, Brad, and my daughter Elena and her boyfriend Ben, and Ronnie's wife Ann Elizabeth, who continues to be very much a part of our family. So thank you. My younger daughter Isabella is traveling in Europe for her post-college graduation celebration. And as you all may know, my dad Ron passed away 2 years ago. He is here in spirit, and he's very happy and proud that this is happening today. So thank you. When they asked if someone from the Ryan family would like to say a few words, all I could think about is my dad and Ronnie fighting over the microphone. Where are they now, is what I ask. We're so honored and we're humbled by this act, and I feel an obligation to convey our gratitude. I know there are a lot of people out here that are family and friends who are present who knew Ronnie very well. Ronnie would think this is great, wouldn't he? He'd be like a building with my name and photos and images all over it. He would completely eat this up. So you did good for him. Many officers on the department, as he had mentioned, were not born at the time Ronnie was killed 30 years ago. For those of you who didn't know Ronnie, I will share a little background as to who he was through my eyes. Ronnie had a larger-than-life personality. He brought fun to any room he entered. When Ronnie arrived, the party began. Growing up, I often fell in his shadow. He would push the envelope and do things that got him in trouble, and then I would do the opposite. He did not let small rules get in the way of a good time or a laugh. I believe God gave him grace and allowed him to live his life to the fullest, knowing it was going to be a short one here on earth. Ronnie was far from perfect and had his share of faults, yet he was a good man, and he was an awesome man. If I can say one thing about Ronnie, he had a great love for people, and he lived his life in this manner. He loved life. Ronnie graduated from Hill Murray High School in 1985. He then attended many different colleges trying to find his passion. At one point, Ronnie was a member of a fraternity at the university, yet he didn't even attend the school. I'm not sure how he fell under the radar, yet it worked for him. Once Ronnie made the decision to become a police officer, he was all in. He attended Century College and studied law enforcement. He worked as a parking enforcement officer to earn his way. He graduated from the police academy in 1993, and then he signed on and became a police officer for the city of St. Paul, following in my dad's career path. It was very special to watch Big Ron pin Ronnie's badge. It was my father's honor, and he was extremely proud. Shortly before Ronnie graduated from the academy, he married Ann. He was so happy. He and Ann bought a home together by Phelan Lake, and they had a special dog, a failed canine dog named Bart, and life was good. Ronnie was very proud to be an officer in the city he grew up in. He loved working with my dad and many of his friends who are here today, who he grew up watching. He made many great friendships on the force, and he did great work. Ronnie worked as a police officer for 1 year before he was killed in the line of duty on August 26, 1994. Our life changed on August 26. The St. Paul Police Department and the City of St. Paul also changed on that day. At that time, police officers being killed was not really a thing. Unfortunately, in today's society, it happens far too often. Our friend Tim Jones and his dog Laser also sacrificed their lives on that day, looking for Ronnie's killer. God bless Tim and his family, Roxy, Matt, Chelsea, and their children for sharing their husband, father, grandfather with us. Tim hung out with our neighbor, the Parasols, on Rose Avenue, where we grew up. So we knew of Tim before he became a police officer. Ronnie admired Tim and wanted to follow in his footsteps of being a canine officer. My dad adored Tim and was devastated how this all played out. My dad said absolutely Tim Jones would come in on his day to help his friend. God bless Tim. I learned something during this awful experience. I learned that the majority of people in the world are very good. Unfortunately, it's the bad guys who get the attention and the press. So many people reached out to our family following the weeks following, the months following, and the years following Ronnie's passing. We received many letters, gifts, and prayers from people who did not know Ronnie. It says a lot about our community and our city and all of you, the St. Paul Police Department, who has supported us through the years. I will share 2 stories, and then I'll keep it brief, that we learned about Ronnie from cards that we had received in the mail after he passed. This will give you an idea of the person that Ronnie was. We've received a letter from a group of older ladies who walked around Phelan Lake in the early mornings. Ronnie worked the night shift, and we learned that after he got off work at 7, he would stop at the lake on his way home, sit on a bench on the path, and visit with these ladies on a regular basis. They said how much they looked forward to their morning visit with him, someone to listen to his stories, and I'll just add, probably have a cigarette with. True. We received another letter from a mom who shared about an interaction Ronnie had with her son. Apparently, her son was in trouble and was sitting on a curb in front of their house. Ronnie pulled his squad car over and sat with the kid on the curb. The boy shared that it was his birthday and he wasn't getting any gifts because he was in trouble. Ronnie left and the boy went inside. She said after an hour there was a knock on the door and the police officer who had visited with her son earlier, Officer Ryan, delivered a birthday cake from Byerly's to her son to enjoy. Ronnie never shared this story with me or my parents. We learned this through the letter, and I was proud to hear this story. And this was very Ronnie. Thank you to the men and women in blue that make the choice to wear the badge and work as an officer to protect our communities. I believe it would be a difficult decision and a huge commitment to be an officer and in this environment and culture today. So thank you. Thank you for honoring our family by officially naming the East District Ronnie after Ronnie. What a gift to carry on Ronnie's name and legacy, and we are very grateful. I understand many people worked hard, and listening to the chief, thank you so much to all the officers and the grassroots effort. Thank you to the mayor and to the chief. And I'll specifically thank Paul Ford, because I taught his kids in preschool. My dad admires you, Paul, and so he would be very thankful. So thank you very much. I look out into the audience now, and I see many people who have been a huge part of our life. The St. Paul Police Department brought many of us together. What a joy. We feel very supported, included, and loved by all of you. What a gift to be able to call the St. Paul Police Department our extended family. So to all officers, be safe. Thank you for your work. Your service does not go unnoticed, and you are very, very appreciated. So thank you.
Well, thank you, everybody. I just have 2 quick comments before we all go inside and cool off and enjoy some refreshments. We talk about when these tragedies happen, the police family goes to the family, the victim family, and says, if you ever need anything, we're here for you. Call anytime. And we're really, really good about that. But I think one thing unique about the Ryan family and Ann and the Jones family is you guys have really been there for us all these years. You came to the memorials. You came to the retirement parties. You came to every event we ever asked you to. You continue to be a part of the family. You were really our rock, I think, more than we were yours. So I think on behalf of everybody here, I thank you for that. Secondly, we talk about service with purpose and what you do mattered. And clearly what Ron Ryan Jr. and Tim Jones did, it mattered. And it was a life of service with purpose. But the Ryan family has continued that legacy as well. As Maria said, she taught my children in preschool. She coached youth soccer. She coaches at Hill Murray. So the legacy of service doesn't stop with Ron Ryan Jr. It's continued on, and I assume it will continue on with your children as well. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Please come inside and cool off and enjoy some refreshments.